Okay, so these are the components I chose for my build. You done, Misty? At the heart of it all, it's going to be an Intel Pentium G3258. It's LGA 1150. It's not an amazing processor, I know, but it's supposed to be really good at overclocking, which I really wanted to try. And it was cheap. I got this for like $40 used, and I can upgrade because of this socket to a better one in the future if I decide that I want to make this even better. As I said, this is kind of going to be a, I don't know, mostly media, but play, some emulators, some games, stuff like that. So I don't need anything super powerful right now. And this seemed to fit the bill just right. I didn't go with 1151 because cost is a factor in this, because I'm doing this again with all my own money. So, I'm not going to spend a ton of money. I already have two other computers that work perfectly fine, and I don't really want to spend a ton on this. It's going to be paired with this Gigabyte Z97N Wi-Fi motherboard. I chose this primarily for the Wi-Fi, but also it's a Z board, so it's overclockable, stock without patching or anything. They're just made to be good. And since this likes to be overclocked and really needs to be overclocked to be even relevant at all, I went with this board. Now, buying motherboards of mostly obsolete chips is annoying, and this took me probably 2 months to get, because I really wanted this particular one. I didn't want any of the others. I wanted the Wi-Fi, I knew that, and I wanted an overclockable board, and they're just so expensive, no matter what I tried to do, and I kept letting them slip away, or I didn't have the funds at the time, because I didn't want to even cut into making myself feel like I was broke. So I waited and I finally got one. Thank you, MCIX used parts in Canada, because that's the only way I was able to get one. And it still costs quite a bit. I got this used for like $120 shipped. I mean, that's still quite a bit for how old it is, but I'd say that's pretty good. So these together were like 160 bucks. So I'll get the exact prices and I'll list all that at the end. Going real simple, Corsair RAM. Got the Corsair Vengeance 1600 speed, DDR3 because this is a DDR3 board. Low profile, that's very important in basically every micro build, is that you need to have low profile RAM. I use Corsair Vengeance RAM in my main rig. That's 1866 speed, and I've got 32 gigs in there, and I know this does wonders for my other computer. I only got a single stick because I intend to add another stick at some point of low profile RAM, and I do want to see how hard I can push one of these micro builds. I'm just not ready yet. So this was about I want to say like $45. I tried to get as much of this on sale as possible. Now, I've never used this brand of SSD before. I have a Crucial SSD in my main rig that I'd love to upgrade to a Samsung, and I haven't. The Samsungs are expensive, and what I was going to do is get myself a Samsung. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. Me. What I was going to do was get a Samsung drive and put it in my computer and take the old SSD out of that as my boot drive and put it in this rig so I wouldn't have to spend any more money. But I got this on a real sale. I think I paid $60 for this for 256 gigs, which is more than the one that I have in my main rig as my boot drive, because I haven't made the jump to moving to all SSDs or RAID or anything like that, because I've never really had a need, but now I'm slowly starting to need to. But I got this on a whim, ADATA. Hopefully it doesn't fail or give me any trouble soon. I'm also throwing in this 2.5-inch mechanical drive that I got out of an old laptop. It's only 5,400 RPM, which is kind of lame, but that's pretty much what most of these are unless you buy a real nice one. And for a used part, we'll see what it does. I mean, right now, like I said, it's mostly going to be it's not going to be gaming anything really amazing, so I think that'll be fine for most of my files. Got the Noctua low profile cooler, which I'd never bought a Noctua before, and after opening this box and seeing how nice it looks, I might be a fan, because that's packaging. It wasn't that expensive. I could have gone for a little bigger cooler, because the case says it handles 58 millimeters high, and I think this one was only, yeah, this one's only 37 millimeters high. So I could have gotten some a little bigger, but for the sake of, you know, just getting it built and the fact that I can use this in something else, I went with this, as it was pretty highly recommended for micro builds. There was one that was a little bigger, but I think it was 62 millimeters in height. But people said they were able to fit it in this case, but I don't want to take that chance because, again, money's kind of tight. And it's all powered by a Silverstone ST45SF, and it's 450 watts. I don't believe it's modular, honestly. I hardly even looked at any of the specs. I just needed something that would drive everything I could throw in here, and it's only 80 plus bronze, which I would much rather it be a gold, which I almost always buy gold. But I mean, it was cheap. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it'll do everything I need it to do, and I can't really complain at that point. So we're gonna see if we can't make it work. Worst case scenario, I buy another one and sell this on eBay or something, and I'll probably make my money back for the most part. I mean, it's about as bottom of the barrel as you can get. But I've heard this can be a little noisy, and I've also heard people say it's silent, so, you know, I'll find out for myself now. And last but not least is what I'm putting in at the moment, anyway, is my old GTX 570 card, Windforce. It's the longest card I have, so I decided to go ahead and try and throw it in here. I couldn't find my tape measure to measure it, and I didn't feel like looking it up online, but it's pretty long. I mean, it's long even by today's card standards. At some point, I'm going to throw in my GTX 690, which I was using in my main rig up until 6 months ago when I got a 1060, and we'll see just how hot we can get everything in that case. But for now, this will work. That processor does have built-in graphics, which will be nice, but I am going to throw this in there just because it's a real heavy card too, and I want to see how that reinforcement piece goes for this and how well it works and how I feel putting it into this case and lugging it around for the extra weight. Okay. Now, it's generally good practice to test your parts when you put them together. I've got the processor, CPU, heatsink, stick of RAM, and a monitor hooked up to it, and I'm going to go ahead and power on the system and see if it works. However, do not put this on something metal. I like to use the box that it came in. Do not put it on the anti-static bag, because that can actually cause a short circuit and you might damage your board. And there's no lights on the board, but or no LEDs to tell me whether it's on or off. Wow, that is quiet. And it posts. Look at that. That is silent. I can't even hear that it's on right now. I'm this close and I cannot hear the fan. And that is silent. That is absolutely silent. That's incredible. Good job, Silverstone. Okay, so I've had this built for about a week now, and I've got it all kind of set up the way I want it. I at first did not put in the graphics card because I wanted to get it all running and make sure there were no problems before I threw in the graphics card, and the same day I ended up putting the graphics card in anyway. So it's got the GTX 570 in it, and I figured that was a good card to use because it probably wouldn't bottleneck the system because of power to the amount of power the CPU has. As I said originally, this is not really a gaming rig necessarily. Nothing that's going to be playing AAA titles. Just kind of emulations and stuff, taking my friend's place, stuff like that. I like it so far. As for my experience of building in a case this small, first I'll say again how this is not the smallest case you can get on the market, and I think that's a really good thing for a lot of people. There was a lot more space in there than I needed. I actually felt had I had a modular power supply and could have gotten rid of some of those extra cables, it would have seemed way too big, and that wasn't too bad. That made me feel very comfortable routing my cables. There was no real close wires to anything that shouldn't have been. So and the handle is very secure. Even with that heavy card in here, it's not that bad. I kind of routed the cables up for this wireless adapter up on the handle so it gets it out of the way. As for some gripes I have with this case, for one, I really don't like how these panels go up and around. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the unboxing video because I want to play around with this and try different setups, and I have to pretty much take the whole thing apart to do anything. I wish that if they were going to do that, they would have at least put the graphics card side as the panel that goes under instead of over. So now every time I want to swap out the card, I have to take the handle off. And I guess they figure you're probably not going to change the graphics card as much, but it kind of got annoying instantly, and I haven't messed with it since because I didn't want to. The other thing is the SDs go in backwards, which I think is kind of weird, and it wasn't entirely clear on the directions. If you look at my video while I'm building it, you see that I put them in the way I thought it said to put them in, and then I realized that I had it backwards, so I had to switch it all around. I don't know why they did that. I guess it really doesn't matter because obviously you can't see them, but it would have been nice to, show my nice new SSD whenever I pull the case out or pull the panel off. Other than that, I really don't have much bad to say about this. Thermals look good. Running it stock without the graphics card in it, I was getting about, I took a picture of it, I think it was about 45 degrees at full load, which was amazing. So I cranked it up to 4.1 gigahertz, and at full load it was about 70 to 72, which is pretty high, but it's safe. But don't intend to push it any further. Realistically, it'll never get that hot while gaming or anything like that because you don't put that much stress on a CPU unless you really, really push it, which I intend to do with this, just to see what I can come up with. And with the graphics card installed and putting it vertical like this, because you pretty much have to, it works just fine. I didn't run into any problems with overheating because all the heat was going up. So, no issues there. I will put up benchmarks at a later time because since the SSD on this is so small, I have to put the games on, test them, and then uninstall them before reinstalling another one. I did put Titanfall 2 on here and Battlefield 1, which took up 80 gigs of space with just 2 games. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And actually, I have a fun idea of how I want to do the benchmarks. So, you know, keep an eye on the channel and hopefully I'll get those up soon. One thing I will say about the case is these buttons are really, really hard to push. Like, I would have rather had just about any other button design than those two little buttons, because they just, I have to hold on to the handle of it to push it because I'm scared I'll knock it over if I try to push it normally. Let me see if I can. Yeah, see? If it's on anything slippery. Now if you just put a little bit of pressure on the back, it's fine, but depending on where you set this, it could be a problem. Now I don't have the feet on it or the stand, but I figure there's no point for just this video. But I hope you liked the video. I hope this helped you decide if you might want to build in the Silverstone ML08 case. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks.